This is Opposing Viewpoint's Packers Week. The Vikings return home to US Bank Stadium to face the NFC North leaders. And joining me on today's show is Vikings team reporter Eric Smith. As always, it's been a tough 4 games facing 4 straight division leaders. This will be the last in that quadruplet. I did that because it's a gauntlet.
Yeah, it is a gauntlet. I think that's definitely a good word to use to describe this 4-game stretch. But the Vikings are trying to end it at 500. They're trying to get to 500 on the season. They're trying to get to 500 in this 4-game stretch. And as Tatum said, it's Packers week, a lot of energy around TCO Performance Center, and I think we're ready to go. As
I am quickly learning, which is a very exciting time around here, we're going to be joined by a Green Bay Packer legend in and of himself. We have Packers play-by-play voice Wayne Larrivee joining us on today's show. And Wayne, I know last week the Packers bouncing back, a lot to do with Aaron Rodgers being back in that lineup with a shutout victory against the Seahawks.
Well, first off, when you say legend and you involve me, it's just because I've been around a while. That's all. There's no other legend to it. But, the Packers were happy to get Aaron Rodgers back. He wasn't at his best against Seattle, and that was understandable. He had missed a good portion of time, hadn't been on the practice field, that type of thing. So, but they were happy to get him back, and they did just enough offensively to win.
Yeah, Wayne, both teams are actually coming off a win, and that gives the Vikings some positive momentum going into Sunday's border battle. It's number 122 overall. And for the Vikings, they needed to win really in any way possible. You know, they have been in so many close games, and last Sunday was no different. Another 7-point game or less. And as we go into week 11 now, 8 of the Vikings' 9 games have been decided by 7 points or less. And the Vikings, like we said, got on the winning track against LA. So they're hoping to carry that momentum over, and we'll see how it shakes out on Sunday.
Yeah, lots of momentum for both teams heading into this one. However, with running back Aaron Jones out of the game, you would think this would be a hard obstacle to overcome, but the Packers confident in A.J. Dillon. Wayne, what does Dillon need to do on Sunday?
Well, he has to run effectively in between the tackles, which is what he does really well. So does Aaron Jones, but Dillon is the guy who can really make yardage after the tackle. He's among the league leaders in yards after contact, and the inside stuff is what he really does best. But they're going to need him to expand his game, and he has been a much better receiver this year out of the backfield. He's really grown in that aspect of it. And the other factor is in pass blocking. He has to pick up the blitz, and there will be plenty of those when Zim dials him up, especially through the A-gaps.
Wayne, you know Mike Zimmer well. You know he's going to bring the heat. And you referenced A.J. Dillon in the pass game and the run game. The guy for the Vikings who's probably going to key on him is linebacker Eric Kendricks, who, is playing to me at an all-pro level, the same level he's played at the last few years. He is a monster out there. Kendricks, to me, he pretty much led the show last week for the Vikings defense. Minnesota was missing 5 defensive starters, a whole laundry list of guys, but it was Kendricks who stepped up. He had a sack on Justin Herbert. He was all over the place in the run game. And of course, he had a very acrobatic diving interception against the Chargers. So the Vikings go as Kendricks goes, and he's sort of the leader of that defense, and he'll be called upon again on Sunday.
Speaking of defense, this is a stingy Packers defense who ranks 3rd in the league in points allowed. And this is without key guys and names that Vikings fans know, Zadarius Smith, Jair Alexander. So, Wayne, what's making this Packers defense run right now?
Well, I got to tell you, it's the scheme they've been playing. And unfortunately for the Packers, it's the same kind of scheme that the Vikings just beat out in Los Angeles. And it's that same Rams type of scheme. They've kept everything in front. They've done a great job with the 2 shells, the 2 safeties generally high. They've read everything well. The coverage has been excellent on the corners despite not having Jair Alexander. This has really been a revelation of this Green Bay defense. But really what they've done very well is play inside linebacker. They've really struggled in this area in the past, but Devondre Campbell is making a huge difference at inside linebacker for the Packers, and that's made a huge difference in this defense. Now, pass rush-wise, they've been good. They're getting more push from the defensive line. But if Zadarius Smith is not going to play this year, you wonder where the pressure is going to come from. I think Z will be back before long, perhaps. But right now the concern is Rashawn Gary, who leads the NFL in quarterback pressures. He's down with an elbow injury. Not known if he'll play this week. He's trying to. He's working on using a brace in practice, that type of thing. If it's up to him, he'll play. I don't know if it'll be up to him.
Yeah, Wayne, a guy you mentioned earlier in that segment is Packers cornerback Jair Alexander. I can tell you the Vikings are very excited that he will not play Sunday. Adam Thielen mentioned him earlier and said that he is probably one of the best cornerbacks in the league. But a guy to watch, as always, for the Vikings offense is going to be wide receiver Justin Jefferson. He had a monstrous game Sunday in LA with 9 catches for 143 yards. He was all over the field. But he especially excelled on third down. He drew a defensive pass interference call. He had a couple third down catches, including one late in the game that really helped seal the game for the Vikings. JJ has been phenomenal on third down this year. So he has 55 catches on the season. 20 of them have been on third down. But of those 20 catches, 18 have been for a first down, and they've moved the chain. So JJ talked today to the media. He said, I'm confident, throw me the ball. I mean, he's kind of had that confidence since he got here as a rookie last year. And once again, he's expected to be a big part of the Vikings offense against the Packers.
Yeah, and Jefferson with a lot of history in college against Green Bay Packers corner Eric Stokes. So that's definitely one matchup I will be watching. If you're watching Opposing Viewpoints and you're a fan of the show, you know we've gotten to the point where we're going to talk our hot takes. So Wayne, we're going to put you on the spot and get your hot take for this week's matchup.
Oh, where do I begin? There's so many hot takes to take here, but I'm going to go with this. I know there are, 3 teams, I believe, in the NFC who are 4-5. I'm going to say the Vikings are the best of those teams. And yes, I think they're better than San Francisco because offensively they can do things San Francisco can't do, like Dalvin Cook running and catching the football, like the combination of Justin Jefferson out there. You look at him and Adam Thielen, they're among the league leaders in terms of tandems of receivers, over 1,300 yards, 11 touchdowns. Kirk Cousins, 6th ranked quarterback in the league. I know the defense has been a question point this year, but that defense is getting better from what I've seen the last 3 weeks. So I think they're the best 4-5 team in the NFL right now.
And Eric, I know some of your hot takes have really actually come true. They've become more like predictions. So let's hear what your hot take is for this game.
Yeah, I'm going to try to stay hot with my hot takes here. I'm gonna go with something that has not happened since 2018, and I'm going to predict or hope that Kirk Cousins will throw for 300-plus yards against the Packers. And like I said, that has not happened in a couple years. It happened early on in Kirk's career in Minnesota in 2018. There was obviously the shootout in Green Bay and then a win here against the Packers in 2018. But since then, 2019, 2020, the Packers defense, as Wayne has talked about, has kind of had Kirk's number a little bit, and they've kind of stymied him through the air. So, Wayne mentioned all the Vikings skilled players. We know he secretly likes the Vikings, but it's a long list of guys who Kirk can throw the ball to. JJ, Adam, Dalvin Cook, Tyler Conklin's been very involved. I think Kirk will go over 300 yards on Sunday against the Packers.
All right. I love a good, bold prediction. So let's continue that going. And we're going to ask you, Wayne, what do the Packers do, or the Packers win if?
The Packers win if they contain Dalvin Cook. I'm saying to less than 100 yards rushing, less than 125 yards total offense. Now, the Packers have been much improved this year against the ground game, especially in the last 3 weeks. They've held, teams like Arizona, Kansas City, and Seattle to less than 80 yards rushing per game. But they have not seen the likes from those teams of Dalvin Cook, and he's a guy who can single-handedly beat them, and they know that from last year. He had 163 yards rushing on 30 carries, 4 touchdowns in Lambeau Field, and that game that you're seeing right here, he single-handedly knocked off the Packers.
Yeah, that's a game most Vikings fans won't soon forget. Hoping for a repeat. We're definitely the ones in purple and gold. So, Eric, the Vikings win if?
Yeah, I'm going to say the Vikings win if they follow the formula of what they did against the Chargers, and that is have offensive success in the red zone. Last week against LA, the Vikings offense was 3 of 4 inside the 20, even inside the 10 in goal-to-go situations. We saw Mike Zimmer get aggressive. He went for it on 4th down. Tyler Conklin had a 1-yard touchdown. Dalvin Cook had a 1-yard touchdown run. In order to beat Green Bay, whether it's at home or on the road, you're going to have to score some points against Aaron Rodgers. I think the Vikings need to kind of continue that aggressive formula, have success in the red zone, because the Packers defense ranks 29th in the red zone in terms of allowing touchdowns. So let's stick with the formula that worked last week. The Vikings finally got a close win. Sunday's probably going to be another close game. The Vikings always play close games. This season it's one after another. So get in the end zone and let's get a win.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate you being here. Packers play-by-play voice Wayne Larrivee for being on Opposing Viewpoint today. Have a safe trip up here.
All right. Thank you very much, guys. Good to be with you.
Sounds good. For Vikings team reporter Eric Smith, I'm Tatum Everett. Thanks for tuning in to the Packers edition of Opposing Viewpoints.